Welcome to Module 2, Part 2 of API 570 Exam Study Guide series. Arrangement of each damage mechanism. As we discussed in the previous video, hope you have gone uh, through all the damage mechanism for just having an overview. Have you noticed that these damage mechanisms are all arranged under 9 different headings? Here in this video, we are going to discuss about those 9 headings on which each damage mechanism are arranged. The first one is discussion of damage. You can expect some direct questions from this description of damage. The second one is the affected materials. Not all the damage mechanisms affects all the materials, or all the materials will not be affected by all the damage mechanisms. So under this heading, the different materials which are affected by the damage mechanisms will be mentioned. There are some materials which are affected by all the damage mechanisms, or there are some damage mechanism which affects all the materials. So there is a permutation, combination, everything will be there. Like erosion and corrosion, which affects almost all materials. The corrosion under insulation can affect carbon steel, and it can affect SS also. And under corrosion under insulation, the other materials are not mentioned. Look, what is mentioned has to be studied. For every damage mechanism, there will be some critical factors. Like when the temperature increases, corrosion can increase. Like when the atmosphere environment changes, the corrosion can increase or corrosion can decrease. So under critical factors, the factors which are very critical, maybe it is a factor itself, because suppose if there is temperature, then the corrosion will be there. For some, there is a change in that parameters, like increase in temperature, decrease in temperature. So we have to note both the things. What are the parameters and what is the effect, or what change makes it critical, like increasing of temperature is a factor. So we have to note down that increasing of the temperature is a critical factor for this. Like that, we have to note down. Affected units or equipment. Some damage mechanisms affect some particular equipment. So we have to note it down which are the equipments that are all affected. The corrosion under insulation affects equipments which are all insulated. And if there is fireproofing in an equipment, there also will be affected, my chance for affecting by corrosion under insulation. Like that. Like MIC, microbiologically induced corrosion. The heat exchanger may prone for MIC because it handles water. Like that, the equipments or the units which are affected or chances of affecting, these are all mentioned on this heading, and we have to note it down. Appearance or morphology of damage. Like for disease, what is happening to us, from the appearance of the disease itself, we can say that okay, this may be this disease, this may be the reason for this disease. Like it's same for the materials also. From the appearance, we can say that okay, this is this damage, this is the thing what is happened, and this is the damage mechanism, and the description of the damage and how it will be are all mentioned here. Prevention, mitigation. All damage mechanisms are to be prevented or to be mitigated. How it to be prevented, what the precautions to be taken, or if it is identified, how it to be mitigated, are all mentioned here. Identification of a damage mechanism or monitoring of a damage mechanisms is mentioned under inspection and monitoring. There are many inspection and monitoring tools, methods are all described here, and for some particular damage mechanisms, some particular methodology has to be used. Suppose RT can be used for detect some damage mechanisms, UT can be used for some damage mechanisms, or some particular type of UT, like profile UT can be used for to detect corrosion under insulation. So like that, the methods and approaches that is to be followed for inspection and monitoring of the damage mechanisms are all mentioned under this heading. There will be some similarity between damage mechanisms. So based on that similarities, the related mechanisms are mentioned under the heading related mechanisms. We have to note it down what are the related mechanisms to the main damage mechanism. References are all given under the heading references, but it's of not so important. Uh, if you're interested to read further, or you became an API 570 inspector and you have to go in detail of in a particular damage mechanism, then you can go and do the review of the reference materials what are given here. But as in an API 570 exam point of view, references are of no importance. So thank you. This is the end of this video. From the next video, we'll go in detail with each damage mechanisms. Thank you for watching.